Greetings, YouTube. Part of American history is about the Goldbug, our love of gold. Numerous gold rushes in American history, deposits that were discovered in Texas and California and Alaska, pushed forward, or Yukon I should say, pushed forward the expanse of the European Americans across the continent. And of course pushed out things like the Native Americans and wildlife populations and pristine wilderness and things like that. And that kind of thing affected lots of people. There are lots of places in the world that suffer from this particular disease. But there's something particular about the American variety. It seems to be a virulent strain, if you will, because it never seems to really go away. I'm going to quote something. On Friday, Governor Greg Abbott signed legislation that would create a state-run gold depository in the Lone Star State, one that will attempt to rival those operated by the U.S. government inside Fort Knox and the Federal Reserve Bank of New York's vault in Lower Manhattan. Quote, "The Texas Bullion Depository," unquote, Abbott said in a statement, quote, "will become the first state-level facility of its kind in the nation, increasing the security and stability of our gold reserves and keeping the taxpayer funds from leaving Texas to pay for fees to store gold in facilities outside our state," unquote, which I'm sure he then ended with, "Yeehaw." And this is from June 16th, so it's last month, an article from last month. And this is kind of thing just feeds into an overall sense of fear and paranoia that somehow the government, and when they speak in these terms, you could hear the brackets around that word. You could hear government. It means federal government, because a lot of these folks that talk about this are very much of the libertarian strain of states' rights above federal rights, and us versus them, and they think them is everyone else outside their state. Remember that Texas is the place where quite recently, while the U.S. military was conducting standard operating procedure training exercises, they actually sent observers to make sure that the federal government wasn't going to impose martial law, that they weren't going to invade a place they already control. Because, like it or not, all states are under the control of the federal government, as well as being under the control of their state government. And of course, part of that federal government is of people that were elected from Texas and sent there. So Texas has a say in the federal government, just as every state does. It's just that a lot of these folks seem to act like they don't. And they have a say in the government in a manner that is often bordering from conservative to fascist. So it's not like there's a lot of progressives in the federal government that are coming to take their gold away. But no one's taking their gold away. The currency, our currency in America, just like every other currency in America, isn't backed by anything. I don't know of any nations that still have currency backed by a precious metal. If I'm wrong in that, you can tell me. We're just backed by confidence. We're backed by the fact that people think that these pieces of money, these pieces of paper or coins, have a meaning. In some places have done away with almost all their coins. In America, we still strangely have the penny. We really need to get rid of the penny. That would be awesome. I don't even use them. I mean, the only thing I use them for is throwing them into a bank, and once a year for my birthday, I cash them in and use it for my birthday money. To have some fun. Other than that, I don't use pennies. The smallest coin I normally carry is a quarter. But this kind of, we must defend ourselves, and we have to hunker down, and we have to have our own gold depository, feeds into a sense of paranoia, of survivalism. That is a rich vein to be mined by politicians. Because as long as they pander to that base will support them. All the while they're backing the corporate masters that control them. The political oligarchs that run America, the one percenters. As long as the politicians give these paranoid survivalists and dupes that buy into the you must buy gold to survive the coming apocalypse, that this keeps working for them. It's a one-trick pony pushing this kind of us versus them philosophy of the state versus the federal government, but it's worked, and it's worked for 40 years. And it's not going to stop working until people start waking up and seeing that what their politicians are doing. The most important words in any of the documents that are the founding basis of our nation, the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the most important words to my mind are three words. We the people. And I'm recording this on July 4th, so I think it's important and appropriate to emphasize we the people, because that's more important than states' rights. We the people have to be functioning together and not allowing politicians to utilize and control the population by convincing them that their particular state has some unique feature that makes them better than all the others. Because they don't. My state's not any better than the other state. It may have certain characteristics that are good, certain characteristics that are bad, but the people aren't better for having been born in New Hampshire. I wasn't born here. All of us are Americans, whether you were born here or you're naturalized. And we need to work together, function together. And these kind of politicians are using that in a very twisted way, because they're driving a wedge between people as opposed to bringing them together. And I'm not perfect on this. I have a really large distaste for the conservative GOP, or the neoconservative GOP. So I have to often rein in my desire to put them all onto a boat and shove them into the ocean, every single Republican politician there is. But these kind of partisan politics make it really hard to understand that we have to work together. It makes it really hard to achieve. However, I like to end this on a lighter note, because someone in the article, on the thread I'll be linking to, did write a wonderful line. If you're planning for a future of economically desolate, war-ravaged wasteland of small communities struggling to survive, I just want to say one word to you.